The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 18th day of December 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindo's. I'm Jamel Hartman. He's Rajay Denbrook, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, happy Monday to you, Raj. How was your weekend?
I had an extraordinary weekend. Thank you very much. I had an amazing weekend. How was yours?
So you want to hear this story now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I had like 4 Christmas holiday parties over a span of 6 days.
Right, you said.
And so on Thursday evening, I snuck out of one.
Nice.
And because the traffic was heavy 95 South, I said, well, let me go across the street to the mall until the traffic dies down. So I went walking around doing some window shopping. And when I went back to my car, it wouldn't start. So I guess, okay, maybe the battery's dead. I called roadside assistance, but it was like a hurricane outside. So they said it would be about 2 hours so I can leave my key in my seat, right? And they would send someone to get my car in about 2 hours.
Mhm.
So I did that, caught a lift home, and you're able to track when the car's been picked up, whatnot. So I got a call, hey, Mr. Hartman, we're about 5 minutes from your car. We'll let you know when we have dropped it off to the dealership. Well, I got a call about an hour later that they had dropped it off at the dealership, but there was no drop box for the key, so they left the key under the mat of the driver's seat. So the next morning, which would be Friday, I was calling the dealership on the hour from 9 a.m., just trying to figure out if my car is there. And I got the same message right up until 5 p.m. Oh, we can't reach anyone in service. We'll give you a call back and let you know. So I finally said at 5 o'clock, I've been very patient. I've been waiting all day. I just want to know if you've received the car. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset because I don't know, something within me is just like, you can't control these things. Let it be. Long story short, I called another number for the dealership and they said, oh, sorry, you'll have to call back tomorrow. Service closes at 5. So I said, well, why didn't the last person tell me that? So I called the best customer service people in any business. And who would they be? Salespeople.
Salespeople, of course.
I called a salesperson at the dealership. And the salesperson said, Mr. Hartman, I'm sorry, we'll look into this for you. My name is such and such, da, 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 da. Well, this gentleman called back 10 minutes. He says, look, we can't locate your car, but we're still looking for it on property and we'll get back to you. About a half hour later, and I was just laughing at this, but I'm like, my car is literally lost. Like, you can't make this up. Got a call back about a half hour later, and the gentleman said, Mr. Hartman, your car has been located at the back of the dealership. And someone will be in touch with you tomorrow when we open at 9 to let you know what's wrong with it. Well, it was like a hurricane here in South Florida on Saturday morning as well. I got that call. They said, hey, Mr. Hartman, you need a new battery. We should have it done for you. Again, apologies about not being able to locate your car, da, 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 da. And so that was pretty much the start of my weekend. But I am so happy and so proud to say it didn't determine my weekend, because last night your boy was out past his bedtime supporting fellow Bermudian Kaiwan miners who put on a Christmas holiday concert, had young people involved. If you're on my WhatsApp, check the stories. He brought the house down in Wellington, Florida. And man, I love seeing Bermudians, just doing great things beyond our environment. So props to Kaiwan out there doing his thing, turning equestrians into pure entertainers. So that was my weekend. Hope that you all enjoyed my
Wait a second. You said turning equestrians into pure entertainers?
Yeah.
For the folks who don't know, who may not know what an equestrian is, can you tell them what an equestrian is?
Oh, sorry. They deal with horses, folks.
No, they ride horses. They ride. They don't just ride horses. Sorry.
They train. I would have thought our audience knew, but thank you for saying that, Raj. Continue.
Yeah, no, because only I said that because Cirillo loves horses, and I need to get her on. Say it again.
Who's Cirillo?
Sorry, Cirillo, and I just did the same thing. Cirillo is my older daughter. And Cirillo, she just has a natural affinity for horses. She loves them. So I know she's meant to be an equestrian because she just loves horses. So yeah, we've taken a deep dive into that world.
She's a brave young lady. But yeah, that was my weekend, folks. And hope you all had a good weekend. Let us know how your weekend was. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we continue the discussion from Friday. We're going to be discussing how we can better protect our children. A lot of comments over the weekend came in, people just saying that it needs to be longer. We have to continue that conversation. A lot of people had opinions that they privately shared as well. So we'll get back into that. The Daily Play is more holiday trivia today. And folks, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you over and over and over and over. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Well, let's jump right. Well, you know what, Raj?
Got a joke?
I have a joke. Audience, do you want a joke after the weekend I had, the start at least? Do you want a joke, Raj?
Yes, of course I do.
Maya Palacio, do you want a joke?
That she doesn't look like it. Oh Lord, that's an if I have to. That was if I have to. Okay, cool.
It's just so hard. But we're gonna give the audience a joke. Yeah, see, Nachika Trot says yes. Suzanne Ingham says yes. We're gonna give you all a joke just because you want one. All right, let's get to it. Here we go. Raj and audience. What do the elves call Santa when he is on the beach?
Sandy Santa.
What was that?
Sandy Santa. Santa Claus.
You were close. It's what do the elves call Santa when he is on the beach? Sandy Claus.
Oh, so close. You said Santa Claus. I know. I was off a vowel, Maya. Actually, I was off the whole vowel. I was wrong.
Oh, why, but Maya, she weren't in her. She didn't know not Sandy Claus. Sandy. You like that? Yeah. See, Suzanne Ingham got it.
I did not get that.
Suntanning Claus. See, that was all right. That was all right. Well, let's get serious this morning, folks. Again, if you're on Instagram, you can tune in via Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you can tune in via Instagram. If you would like to watch the Daily Hour live, if that's your platform of choice. Also, if you're tuned in on Twitter, you can now comment from Twitter. So there's some big changes happening on this show. If you're tuned on from Twitter, you can now comment. And hopefully Maya or anyone who's on Instagram can let us know if anyone has any questions or comments from Instagram. We cannot pull them in here yet, but we'll do our best to entertain everyone on Instagram as well. We're just going to put the question up. We had this conversation on Friday. And the question of the morning is, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? Folks, again, credit to the Royal Gazette. And I'm just going to go on the Royal Gazette's Twitter real quickly because they have been consistent. The Royal Gazette has been consistent. I know you all have your issues with the Daily, but they've been consistent with putting the missing young children up. And we have for Mr. Johnny Lima Bascom, day 39. And Miss Raquel Sophia Souza Sequeira, day 12. So these two young people have been missing from their place of residence for that length of time. And I think, it's easy to dismiss it and say, oh, these children are just, bad children, or they want to be dismissed. But I want to say something to you before we jump into it and get real deep. I often say on this show that I was a poor student or a bad student. And the amount of people that continue to write me or send me voice messages that keep saying, Jamel, stop saying that. You were not a poor student. You were not a bad student. They got angry at me at this point because I kept saying it. And they said, you were not poor and you're not bad. The powers that be had structures in place and refused to adapt to the student that you were. And
Yeah.
why is that important? Because we had someone in the comments on Friday that spoke about structures. Folks, I'm no expert at this. What I am is, like many of us, or all of us, sorry, we were all children. Some of us work with children, some educators, some mentors, some coaches. I've been a mentor, I've been a coach. And what I will say is I learned very early. Different individuals require different things, especially when I was coaching football. I cannot coach a child that's naturally gifted the same as one who doesn't even know how to kick a ball.
You have no idea how powerful what you just said is. You have no idea how powerful that is. Keep going. I'm gonna stop you.
And no, Raj, thank you. And I'll stop in a second. But I just want people to understand one thing. It's not personal, as if we're picking on a group of people or a department of people, but it is personal when it comes to protecting our children.
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad we got to do this today, because now we got to slow down and really be sensitive about the conversation and be clear about the conversation. So I'm really, really grateful that we get to do this again today. And Jamel, you actually just made a point that I was going to begin with, that it's really important to leave our egos at the door. We always should be operating in awareness and humility. Awareness and humility, especially when we are interacting with vulnerable, traumatized young people. We should always be behaving with awareness, sensitivity, and humility when we are interacting with vulnerable, traumatized young people. So with that point of departure, I'm just going to jump right into it. Trauma. The young people who are missing have clearly experienced trauma. Now, I have spent the vast majority of my professional life in working in education and with at-risk young people in particular. My first job when I came back to Bermuda was actually at residential treatment services as a residential care officer, where after children are removed from their household and placed into the care of the director of child and family services, if they need intensive therapeutic intervention in a residential setting, that's where they're sent. So I've been in the space. I've worked in the space. I have had chairs thrown at me. They're not necessarily in that space, but in my craft, I've had chairs thrown at me. I've been spat at. I've been thrown against a wall once. And you obviously got to a point where you go, you are literally out of control. So let's take a deep dive on trauma really quick. Jamel, can you come back? Because I don't want just my face to be up in here. There we go. All right. So trauma really quick.
Mm-hmm.
This is your nervous system. Everything that you think and that you feel, that's your nervous system. All of your experiences, all of your memories, everything. That's your unconscious self. Your conscious self during the day is only a tiny fraction of who you are. All of that is who you are. When you feel, so trauma,
Mm-hmm.
Trauma is when you have an experience that overwhelms your nervous system and it shuts down.
Mhm.
So being chased by a dog, what survival response kicks in? Everybody knows it.
You're gonna run. You're scared.
There we go. So that's flight. You're gonna
Break it down, Raj. Talk to us.
you're gonna flight. You're gonna do this. You're gonna run away. You're gonna do three things. You're gonna either run away,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
you're
ahead.
gonna freeze,
Mhm.
or you wait, flight.
Guys, my Wi-Fi is having trouble, so just talk, Raj.
Oh, apologize. Okay, understood. So you're gonna either run, you're gonna freeze, or you're gonna fight. Those are the trauma responses, right? When you're in danger. And significant emotional experiences, it doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't. You can have a traumatic enough emotional experience that overwhelms your nervous system and traumatizes you. Now, up in the brain, this is what's going on when that happens, right? Your amygdala is firing. That's that reactive, pre-conscious survival part of your brain, right? Your prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain where you're able to regulate and control yourself and be intentional. When you're in flight or flight, I tongue tie. This shuts down and your amygdala goes up. Cortisol is pumping through your body. Your heart rate goes up. You go into an anaerobic state so that you can just survive, right? But this can be triggered by a significant enough emotional event. It doesn't have to be physical.
Mm,
And if you are experiencing that in a household repeatedly,
mm.
you develop something called complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm.
Now, I'm gonna pause there for but let's get your thoughts on that because that there's a
Let's make sure we don't forget the audience, but audience, let us know your thoughts on what was shared. But again, the overall question of the morning is, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? You've heard Roger just give you an idea that these are not bad people that just want to do bad things. There's a science to this. There's a science to this. We did get comments, and again, it's tough on Instagram, but we had the real conscious underscore J say it. I grew up in a single parent home with physical abuse, but I had God in my life and my street family supported me. Children need the proper support, but not sure what he said before that, as it's not up on Instagram. But is there anyone who can speak from their own experiences with this? Rod shared his experience where he actually worked in this space with young people. I want us to be brave and courageous when having this conversation. I want us to be as brave and courageous as the people who go online and just say, oh, these kids just need a spanking. They just need someone to get a hold of them. Because what Raj did this morning is he took you deeper. He took you beyond the surface. We complain, or we have, I wouldn't say complain, but we have concerns about so many things when it comes to the way the country is governed. But how many people have been loud about their concerns about the state of vulnerable children who are in the government's care full time? These two young people who are missing in particular, I don't know what their situations are, but I don't need to know the ins and outs to understand that we probably should take a look at the system.
Mm-hmm. So I want to show something else very quickly. These are the ages and stages of child development. So when we're talking about what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? What we're really asking is, do we care about children in Bermuda? Do we care about childhood in Bermuda? Because if you do, everything in your society is going to be structured around enhancing childhood. So that's going to translate into family policy, vulnerable children's policy, like that DCFS falls under the Children's Act. That's going to translate into education policy. So work from home policy is an excellent example of family policy, right? I was able to work from home with the girls a lot, and I saw the benefits of that. But what's most important in terms of trauma is that I'm sorry, I forgot you can see that there's so many different stages that kids go through, right? They're not just children. You have newborn, 1 to 3 months, and then you've got 4 to 6 months, 7 to 9 months, 10 to 12 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 to 5 years, and 6 to 12 years, and the 6 to 12 and 13 to 18 also have their own sub-developmental stages, right? So you have to hold space for that in the family space, in education, or when children get on the bus, when they're walking down the street, right? But in terms of trauma, their brains are still growing.
Mm.
Their brains aren't starting. So when these poor babies are experiencing legitimate trauma that requires them to be removed from their household, which is another traumatic thing, and then they're placed in an environment that's restrictive and that's punitive and that's rules driven, that's going to exacerbate their trauma, because what they need is an environment where they can regulate themselves and be calm, right? These children, they can't regulate. It's called affect dysregulation. They are literally out of control. And the number one thing I've learned, especially in a job I had recently, I had about a group of 15 young men. And I knew, Rajay, the number one thing you can, and these boys were, Jamel, my boys were off the chain. I can't go into details, but
Yeah.
my boys were off the chain. But the thing that I learned, that I remember, Jamel, is stay calm.
Mm.
And if they're popping off, now every now and again, I'll be real, they need a boundary. And I'm gripped up a few, I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
I'm not, because the staying calm, you're not respecting boundaries, you're getting physical with me. Cool. Well, now it's a different conversation and you need to learn something right now, right? That hasn't happened. That's happened legitimately, I would say 3 solid times in my entire career, right?
Raj, let's take a quick break. Audience, we want some of your engagement. We want some of your opinions. Let us know what we can do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda. What are your thoughts? What do you think we need to do? You're hearing this. Raj is giving you some great information about the state of children, this scientific the way their brains operate. Give it some thought. Let us know. We'll come back after this break to see what your thoughts are, and then we'll bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. Stick with us. We'll be back after this.
In over 30 years, Mailboxes has brought in millions of packages. That's a lot of packages. We started way back in 1990.
Ship a boombox. Well, okay, sure, we can do that. Check you later.
And ever since,
Righty, welcome back. Thanks again. If you appreciate the conversations this morning, no matter the platform you're on, please give us a love, a like, share it. Make sure you share with your friends, your family, your colleagues. If you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, repost it. They no longer say retweet, apparently. And the question of the morning was, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? Suzanne Ingham, she says some kids shut down because it's overwhelmed, and I've had this experience. The fight, extremely defensive, set in. She says time and space was needed.
So what you just heard,
about that, Raj, like how important it is to respect even their boundaries.
Yeah, that note, and I mentioned that word regulate. So regulate means just allowing them to exist in a calm state. That's it. So when the girls get upset and I can't, my daughters get upset and I can't calm them down, I like give them a hug and I say, listen, daddy can't help you right now, but I will be nearby. Go sit over there. You got your bird, you got your blanket, wrap yourself up and just I've taught them their little breathing techniques and just breathe and back to baseline, right? You don't go, get away, because it's just going to trigger it more, right?
No one told me that when I was young.
Yeah, but now it's our responsibility to learn and pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah. I mean, I just learned some of those techniques. I'm being really serious right now.
Yeah.
That's serious. All right, let's go. Manuela John said, we can say that they need a spanking or someone to get a hold of them. But the important thing is that someone needs to be selfless enough to take the time to understand them and advise them / others. Well, I think growing up, people had a tendency to just believe. Even right now, if you look on social media, when it comes to people, oh, well, when I was young, I'd have got a cut, and this. Like we tend to think that because we grew up a certain way, it was right or it was okay.
And exactly. And it's just like, again, humility and awareness. And and you know what, Jamel? All of us have an inner child. We do. Bring that humility and awareness to your inner child first. Look inside and be honest with yourself about how you were brought up and how it affected you. Because if you haven't dealt with it, that poor baby is still inside of you, suffering, asking for you to show them the love that they never got. And that's why you have so many people out here walking around acting like children in adults' bodies because they never had a chance to grow up. And you've got to do it for yourself.
Just go back to the audience. Mark Altusi Phillips says, anyone that is working with our children needs to have a passion to work with them and love on them. Goes on to say, we can't have persons working in children's homes that are only doing it for a check. Well, I don't know if it's that high paid to do it for a check. But I guess the question I'll ask, it's not people working in just these spaces, but you have some great educators, great teachers in various, not just in education, but in life. But do these spaces require sensitivity training also?
And they don't. But this is the thing. You know what, Jamel? This is the thing. The people being able to work with children is a calling. You have a natural sense for it, right? The training that you get allows you to be intentional about it, but it's a natural sense of things. But the question comes back to is structures. Do you have structures in place that allows professionals to show up to be the professionals that they are? And I'm going to make a very, very, very quick link to the Education Reform Unit. The Education Reform Unit within the Ministry of Education is filled with the best and brightest minds in public education. The issue with the administration around public education is that everyone has been under an incredibly oppressive and restrictive administrative culture that's become normalized. Teachers just can't teach and enjoy teaching. And when they do that, you see that improve student outcomes. You see it improve families. You see it improve communities, which goes back into improving schools. It's about the structure. And these professionals in the Education Reform Unit, honestly, I think they should, it's not incorporated by legislation, which is weird. It should be incorporated by legislatively, and it should behave as the first step towards an education authority. They should be working independently to reform education.
All right. Traveling Trotty says, I know teachers, ETs, water ETs, etc. completed TCI training. What is TCI?
Oh, I will be happy to tell you what TCI is.
If you can not use abbreviations, because this is an audience that we just don't know, but help us out, Raj.
TCI is therapeutic crisis intervention. So when that baby is triggered, they are in flight or fight. The training that you know how exactly what to do in a therapeutic way to keep them safe.
What's ET?
ET?
Yeah, she said, I know teachers, ETs. What's that?
Oh, educational therapists.
Oh, well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, TCI training is not comprehensive in the public school system. And I remember when I left DCFS, I went to public schools, and you saw trauma everywhere and trauma-based behaviors. So my first question was, do we do TCI training? And said, yeah. I said, who? They're like, And I was like, well, this should be comprehensive. Every single last teacher should receive therapeutic crisis intervention training, because in the classroom, again, I've had a chair thrown at me. Children try to fight you, and you're like, you are clearly traumatized. And now I wasn't always perfect because believe it or not, Rajay is a little gangster. Like, don't try me, right?
I believe
But
folks.
but I'm a lover, right? That's my first go-to. So I'm always gonna try and love you up first. But if you just
All right, Raj, let me lead us into the news before we get in trouble. But this is such an important conversation. The well-being of our children should be a priority. And we're going to continue the conversation after the news break with Maya. But if you have any comments or questions, what I would like to ask the audience as well is, by a show of hands, let's come back to that. I just want to finish because I want to read that. But I want to real quickly, how many people, of everything that concerns you, how many of us are speaking to our members of parliament or constituency reps about everything that's being discussed here today? By a show of hands, yes or no, how many of us are speaking to our reps, our political reps, about what we're discussing, what we've discussed over the last 2 days? Yes or no? Have you or have you not? And Traveling Trotty said, Raj, recently a large number of educators completed the training, so every school has trained personnel. This is perfect. Karen Simmons says, people who work with vulnerable young people should have social emotional learning training and therapeutic crisis intervention. So we're getting some solutions. But how many of us have spoken to or are looking to speak to our politicians, our MPs, about what we've been discussing over the last couple of days? And Suzanne Ingham says, not yet, but I will be. Headline Swan says, no. We have the Real Conscious Jay. He put up his hand on Instagram saying yes. Right.
Wonderful.
We have Traveling Trotty said, not my rep, but persons working in the space. And then Michael Daniels says, there are no perfect parents. What does that mean for you? What does it mean for you, Michael Daniels? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. We're going to continue the conversation. Very important one. So if you haven't already, please like, follow, share, love, but make sure that this conversation touches every last person in our community. Because as I said Friday, no apologies. No apologies. Children,
none. I take nothing back.
Children
need
to be a priority in our community. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. It is Monday, the 18th of December, 2023. Oh, it would be helpful if she wasn't on mute, right, Raj?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, I thought you didn't want to be heard this morning. How are you?
I'm good this morning. How are you guys?
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah. Nice shirt. Yeah.
Listen, the curls are always Miss Palacio. Don't come on here playing around. You know you look fabulous every time you come on this show, right? Just calm yourself down.
I guess.
Lord.
I perfected the morning routine, I must be honest. Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's noticed that I'm still in my pajamas.
Real quickly, I just want to go to Instagram. Scars Bermuda has said children first. And Real Conscious _J says, amen, guys. Children are the future and should be our top priority. So just
they are present as well. I wanted to throw a present to
Instagram in as well. And Maya, I just want to get your thoughts as well on this morning's conversation. Anything to add?
Oh, I'll definitely have a report about the 2 missing teens in my news break, but just something to report. Again, I think when we had this conversation last time and Raj did ask the questions, I just said, believe children. Far too often, I remember like in my growing up stages, whether it be with my cousins, my sisters, my friends, it just felt like sometimes we weren't believed in what was going on in our own personal lives by the adults around us. And it took us a very long time to grasp the fact that, kind of we had to have each other and hold each other accountable, have each other's backs most times. So I think believing them and having their back will make such a huge difference in their childhood. Because when you see that with other children, you do I got defenses. I got a bit jealous, seeing that, well, your parents or your guardian or whomever, or your teacher or your principal believed you and they didn't believe me. Must be nice.
Wow.
Interesting. Wow. Don't think about.
Yeah.
I have. I'm sorry.
All right. What you got in the news break for us today, MP?
Oh, good morning. Good morning. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting out your news this morning, while pricing, global shipping, and aging equipment are some of the reasons among why Bermuda's roads are struggling to be paved. And this is coming from the Minister of Public Works, David Birch.
The government's physical assets are aging. This is not new. Successive administrations have stated this. In this case, the machinery that supports road paving works is also aging, and therefore routinely out of service for repairs. The estimated price for paving just 1 kilometer or half a mile of roadway on both lanes is $600,000. It currently costs the ministry 62 cents on every dollar used for road paving for this material.
So if you heard that correctly, yeah, half a mile, $600,000 to get both sides paved.
And I think it's important to remember that public services require money, and things don't happen for free. And we are privileged enough to have public services provided to us through our taxes. But everything costs money.
Yeah, but if money was spent wisely, well, never mind. Go ahead.
No, Dave, you said it, and it's true, Jamel. You said it.
Yeah.
Because $6 million for an educational reform consultant who has nothing to show for it is not a wise use of money. You can continue.
Moving on with our next bit of news. Well, the total revenue for the government's current fiscal year of 2023-2024 is estimated to be about $1.16 billion. Now, Premier in the Honorable David Birch says the government has reduced their gross national debt for the first time in almost 2 decades.
This government continues to demonstrate sound fiscal prudence and the ability to be good stewards of the public purse. Though the opposition may focus on a few missteps, I remind the public and honorable members that no government gets it 100% right 100% of the time. But, Mr. Speaker, we have delivered relief to Bermudians challenged with the highest global inflation seen in 40 years through tax and duty cuts. We've made investments in affordable housing and critical infrastructure. We have maintained our credit ratings. And today, Mr. Speaker, we are repaying $50 million in debt.
Anyone have a comment on that? Shall I move along?
Good for him.
All right.
No, hold on. What Rajay just said, I want you to feel that. Good for him. Him. Continue, Maya. Read between those lines, folks. Go ahead, Maya.
All right. Well, in other news, the Minister of National Security, Michael Weeks, addressed actually a day-long exercise simulating a response by Bermuda in the event that a Russian-registered aircraft is forced to make an emergency landing on island. So basically, the minister responsible for handling the foreign national affairs said that as a British overseas territory, Bermuda adheres to international sanctions, which, if violated, could have significant legal and diplomatic repercussions. In reality, this is no easy feat, and we must explore how we would successfully and diplomatically handle such a scenario. So in the exercises that happened, there was in attendance the governor, as well as a lot of different heads of government departments focused on devising an effective response strategy if a Russian-registered aircraft is required to land here in an emergency.
No comment from me, Raj. You got any?
I don't.
Okay.
All right. Well, meanwhile, the police did share 2 new recurring photos of the 2 missing teens that we spoke about, Ajani Lima Bascom and Sophia Vicaria. I'm sorry for the pronunciation of those names just now this morning, guys. Rough morning. But yes, there was an update of the imageries, and let's just hear in from the police as what they had to say. In other news, delayed reportings of sightings hinder efforts to locate missing teens. The Bermuda Police Service continues its work with the Department of Child and Family Services to locate 16-year-old Ajani Lima Bascom and 15-year-old Raquel Sophia Souza Sequeira. 16-year-old Ajani was most recently reported missing over 5 weeks ago and is described as light complexion, 5 feet 8 inches tall, of slim build, weighing approximately 125 pounds, with dark colored hair. And 15-year-old Raquel was most recently reported missing over a week ago and is described as light complexion, 5 feet tall, of slim build, with neck-length black hair. The PPS understands that each missing teen is in contact with close relatives and friends. However, no information regarding their exact whereabouts has been provided. Apparently, both are still in good health and are likely being aided by adults, even as active efforts to find them persist. As a reminder, any sightings of either missing teen should be reported immediately, and harboring a juvenile is an offense punishable under the law. Any individuals found committing such an offense should expect to be prosecuted. Members of the community with relevant information on the whereabouts of 16-year-old Ajani Lima Bascom as well as 15-year-old Raquel Sophia Souza Sequeira are urged to contact the VPS Vulnerable Persons Unit at 295-0011 and or the Department of Child and Family Services on 278-9111.
Let me tell you why that infuriates me. It is clear why those children don't want to go back. How dare you threaten people who are trying to keep them safe? It's not right. I understand it's illegal, right? Those children don't want to go back. They're not stupid. They're not. We gotta do better, man. Like, why are you gonna sit here? They clearly don't want to go back. Why are you gonna sit here and threaten people with legal action? The solution is to fix the problem. Give them someplace to go where they can heal and be okay and be whole. They've already been traumatized their whole lives. They have to get taken from home, put in a fucking, excuse my language, I'm sorry, put in a little jail for children. You expect them to want to go back?
Well, I think this speaks to what we always say. The norms of society. Again, someone said it on Friday. There are structures in place. We no matter what year it is, it's 2023, about to be 2024. We live in a very conservative society where we think that laws and rules, no matter when they were created, why they were created, should be adhered to because they are the law, they are the rules. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because what we don't do, and Maya has done many of stories on her Media Maya platforms about laws that existed to harm us. Until we start questioning laws and rules and just different things in place, then this is what we're going to have. But it's going to take a community. It's not going to, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us. And so, the emotions that come out, I feel it. I understand it. We can't just have these conversations. I say it every day. We have to take these conversations beyond the mic.
There are children in this country who are suffering. You know what? Education reform at the beginning of this year, the kids at Purpose couldn't go to school because the school wasn't ready. They were only hot bloody sun. They couldn't use the bathroom properly.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. And Rashida Godwin, I used to say this all the time, when we were fighting to end conscription, well, it's the law and and I mean, people would use their Bible to justify it. They would use their Bible to justify this and say things like, well, man has to follow, the law and this and that. And I'm just like, but you're benefiting from and quoting people who broke laws so that you can enjoy the life that you live. So I understand you read Rashida Godwin. Just because it's law doesn't make it right. Slavery was a law. Indeed. Yeah. What else you got for us, Maya?
Well, closing out with maybe some happier news that you guys can get into. But over the weekend, Bermuda's Love did have their first food drive, and it went really well, so well that before 9 a.m. when it actually started, the food was almost cleared, which kind of shows that we have a deep need for food security in Bermuda. Luckily enough, halfway through, the Pacheco Farms actually did come by and drop off some amazing fresh produce for the next round of people that did show up for the food drive. And they also had a survey that was taking place. So here's a short portion of the clip that I was posted on Media Maya.
Just trying to get a reading on what food insecurity is like in Bermuda. So we're asking questions such as whether people have enough money to afford to eat a healthy and balanced diet, whether they ever have to skip meals, and whether they feel hungry because they don't have enough money for food specifically. realistically. Again, to try to get a read on how severe the problem of food insecurity is in Bermuda, and therefore educate ourselves better on what we can do to address that need.
And currently, 26 people have filled out the survey so far.
And how do you feel about it almost not even 9 o'clock and food's almost all gone?
It definitely states that we have a greater need, and we have a greater purpose in addressing that need, and that there needs to be much more done to address food insecurity and the provision of healthy and nutritious food in Bermuda.
Basically, for the Zero Hunger campaign, we've collaborated with a bunch of feeding programs, charities, farmers, local activists to promote the right to food. And so from those conversations, we have 4 key aims from the campaign. One is to universal school meals. So one of our key aims is to have eventually school meals, hot, ready, full meals for all schools in Bermuda as one key aim. The next one is to support feeding programs more, such as Eliza Doolittle, such as Christchurch Works feeding program, the Cathedral, in order to support them and provide meals to our community. The third point is boosting agriculture. So we're working with various farmers to come up with solutions to really increase Bermuda's food security. And the last one is continue to advocate for the right to food to become legislated in Bermuda. So those are the 4 working areas that we're focused on, and hopefully in 2024 we'll continue our campaign.
I'm going to say something very quickly. I cannot wait until I'm the Minister of Education for this country, and I get to work for Bermuda with Bermuda is Love, and I put a garden at each public school in this country to grow their own food and cook their own food, and they can make their own meals every day, and to work with them to ensure that our students get fed. That is an incredible vision.
It's interesting because my follow-up comment to that video was, you know how I feel about charity. But my hope is that with Pacheco Farms and whoever else they're working with is that we're showing people how to grow food and feed themselves. So absolutely love what Rajay just said. That's the only way we're going to eliminate it. Is Honorable Mark he said it, you know, we have to learn how to feed ourselves without relying on others to do it. So, you know, I'm got a lot of love for Bermuda is Love. Again, I'm going to keep saying this and keep saying it and driving it home. I knew nothing about Shein. If you tune into this show and you still buy Shein products, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, just reach out to Bermuda is Love and find out why something as simple as how you purchase clothes, where you purchase them from, is damaging our climate. And stop. And stop. Maya, what else you got for us?
While closing up, the House did pass the corporate income tax, and we'll hear more about that throughout this week. And in sports, coming up from Burn News, so Mr. Jason McAlpin claimed gold and silver medals representing Open Mat Bermuda at the recent World IBJJF Jiu-Jitsu No-Gi Championships in Las Vegas. He was among 9 competitors representing the island's first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy at the top international tournament. The 48-year-old won the men's Masters middleweight division and finished runner-up in the men's open weight division. So congratulations.
All right. How's the weather looking today, Maya?
Weather's looking like sunny periods with a chance of few showers. So we're not having the best days lately, but it's going to be a high of 72.
All right, Raj, you got a days of the year for us?
Today is Bake Cookies Day.
Oh.
So get with your family members, even if you can't bake cookies. It's just about coming together. And you know what? Taking a bite of some cookies that you made that don't taste good is going to create a really hilarious core memory with your babies. So
all right,
cookies today.
Audience, let us know, what is your favorite homemade baked cookie? Maya, what's yours?
Oatmeal raisin.
All right, Raj, what's yours?
I'm basic chocolate chip, but I'm my oven hasn't worked in like 2.5 years because I have to get a new oven. But I bake like a madman. I love to bake, and my chocolate cookies are on point.
All right, got around. Audience, let us know what yours is. I'm basic too. Sugar cookie. I'm easy like that. Maya, we'll see you tomorrow. And we're gonna when we come back, we're just gonna share some comments that have come in via Instagram. Gonna go through all the comments that we've got today, and then Rajay and myself will wrap it up with your daily play and our final thoughts. We've got peanut butter cookies, we've got sugar cookies, ginger snaps, homemade, oatmeal raisin with coconut. Okay. We've got some cookie lovers out there. Maya, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break and be back and just share some of your thoughts on today's discussions, conversation, and news break.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talk and DeWalt. The list goes on.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's next.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Roger Denbrook, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. I just want to go to some comments. Folks, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We had some comments on Instagram. Real Conscious _J says, real talk, Raj. Don't apologize for your passion, brah. Bermuda needs this dialogue to wake up. Scars Bermuda actually wrote, Raj, you have a tender heart. All children want and need is to be unconditionally loved, nurtured, and safe. Let's go to some comments that we have in studio here. We have Kenton Trott to the question, what can we do to improve the lives of our children? And he stated, I have tried to speak about multiple important topics with my MP, but he only cares about golf. And this was as it relates to, have you taken your concerns about Bermuda's young people to your MP? Something tells me it's talking about a St. George's MP that loves golf. Manuela John says, those who are willing and able to help should receive the assistance needed to help those children, not only about rules and regulations. And that's who Raj is very passionately about, threatening people. And I want to touch on that in my closing remarks in a bit. Renee Simmons said, I too know one of the cases after questioning why hasn't there been an update. There is more to the story that meets the eye. I don't know what, but from my interaction, I gather it's not an easy resolve. So those are some of your comments that we may have missed earlier. Raj, you had something else to say about this morning's question. Again, folks, the question of the morning was about improving the lives of children in Bermuda. And what I'm getting is we currently don't have a space where we're improving their lives. We have a space that is strict. We have a place that has a certain structure. It's like when I grew up going to school, public school. This is the way it is, and you either find a way to make it work or you don't. That's what it seems based on what I'm learning. That's no way for children to succeed.
Or to heal, because remember, these children are traumatized. They're being sent there because they're traumatized. You're exacerbating their trauma, and you wonder why they're running away. Very quickly, like literally 10 seconds, a quick reality check as to why people aren't going to their MPs is because our political culture, our political processes, our faith in political representation is gone. You're not going to your MPs because you don't feel like it's going to make a difference. MPs aren't saying anything because they feel like if they speak up, they're going to be attacked and fired. Our political culture has disappeared. Everybody feels helpless. That's why everybody feels helpless.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to read this. More questions over Krista's death. This is from 2020, Sam Strangeways. Police in the United States were unable to confirm how long a Bermudian teenager who took her own life was left alone by staff at a residential treatment institution because security cameras were switched off. Krista Simons died at West Ridge Academy in West Jordan, Utah, last November after she was sent there by the family court at the request of the Department of Child and Family Services. A police report into the 17-year-old's death said the statements made by center staff to officers revealed that Krista had attempted suicide multiple times in the past. The 21-page report said Krista was on suicide watch and under constant supervision from West Ridge staff, except when she showered and used the toilet.
Mm.
She also slept in a main common area so she could be observed throughout the night. So I'm just going to stop there because the article is quite long, but I want to make something very, very, very clear. And I need everybody to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Legally, that child, their guardian, according to the Education Act, was the Director of Child and Family Services. When I was working there, residents where I were also sent to West Ridge. And when they came back, they had nothing but complaints. It did not help them.
Mm.
This young lady clearly had mental health issues and needed therapeutic support. And you sent her somewhere where previous service users told you the issues. You sent her there. It clearly exacerbated her issues and she killed herself.
We're going to take a final break. We'll come back, do the Daily Play, wrap it up, and let's keep that thought as your final thoughts, Raj. We've got 3 minutes.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
All right. Thanks so much for rocking with us today, folks. If you appreciated this morning's discussion, the news break, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by, thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. If you don't have that stock in stuffer, make sure you go to one of your local stores. You can hit up our website, bermudatrivia.com, and see where you can purchase it. I believe 5 volumes available at stores. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Raj, let's bring the energy down a bit and ask today's trivia question. All right, it's multiple choice this morning. Multiple choice, you get one guess. One guess. When did Christmas cards become a tradition? In the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, or 2000s? What'd you say?
It's the 1900s. Because I'm pretty sure it was Hallmark. I'm pretty sure. Or did they gank the idea and then just capitalize on it and monopolize it?
Well, someone got it.
It was the 17. It's the 1800s. Okay.
1800s. The 1800s. Yeah.
That's still very 1800s. Why would I say 1900s?
Well, Charles thought the same. Del Otterbridge thought the same. Yeah. Someone said 1700s. No, it's the 1800s. And it's interesting because I'm not writing Christmas cards, but anyway, final thoughts, Raj. Final thoughts on today's emotional but honest conversation. What are your final thoughts?
They let that child and her family down big time.
Mm-hmm.
The Department of Child and Family Services is negligent and is responsible for that child's death. I am aware that her parents are currently suing the government, but for some reason the case has stalled or something. I'm going to make this so clear on this show, and I'm not playing around, Jamel. If we care about children in this country, bring justice to that family and bring justice to that child. The country can prove to Rajay Denbrook right now, the judiciary, the legislature, the executive branch of this country, and the community, and Child and Family Services, which falls under the executive branch, they can prove to me and everybody else that they actually give a damn about children and bring justice to this child and her family, and a full review, right? Get the ego out of it, Jamel, right? It's about children. We need to reflect. You know what? Let's use the word reflect. Let's have an internal reflection, a comprehensive reflection. Let's take accountability of ourselves, right? On the services at Child and Family Services. Don't have anybody else do it then, since if you don't want that. Do it yourselves. Have the integrity to do it yourselves.
All right.
And the changes happen.
Indeed. Wrapping it up, I'll just say this much. I don't think we're concerned enough as a community. I don't think we're upset enough as a community. I don't think we're angry enough as a community. And that concerns me most. That's what concerns me most.
Jamel, if anybody's watching this show and is thinking I'm being too much, they don't care about children.
Rajay, at the end of the day, we all have our ways of dealing with stuff. But silence and inaction is not one of the options.
Yeah. Rajay's is emotional transparency. And with my intellect, with my understanding of things and my emotional transparency, I am in a position to make things clear. Indeed. And that's what I'm always going to do.
What's the daily inspiration brought to you by ER Fisheries?
It is a poem today, actually. It's called On Children from Khalil Gibran. A friend of mine who is a social worker sent it to me. Bear with me. Actor Rajay is about to come out, so you're going to see a bit of Serafina.
All right, it's not too long. We've got
No. I'm going to do it. Listen, here we go. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable.
Indeed. And who's the author?
Khalil Gibran.
Thank you for that. Your daily hour inspiration. Brought to you by ER Fisheries. A very fitting poem indeed. And I hope that it touches someone. I hope that someone feels it. Folks, we've got to head out. Don't forget to subscribe to our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. You see the passion, you feel the love. So thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Office Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Rajay Denbrook. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.